I've been itching to make this video, but I thought, we need a special occasion, like an amount of time for it to stand out. And I thought, okay, 5 years is a prominent and pivotal anniversary. So it's been 5 years. Happy anniversary, everybody. I'm not even gonna cap. I've been meaning to talk about this for at least 2 years, ever since I published this book. And yes, this is a shameless plug. This video is gonna be about that Rona, okay? The greatest hoax, the biggest scam in recent history, okay? And by the way, before I get into it, I've written a book about the Rona, all about the scam, making fun of it. Mostly this is just making fun of the whole thing, but I have a couple of, textbook definitions and medical terminology. But most of all, if you want to have a laugh, okay, about the whole ordeal, I have a book on Amazon called Year of the Mask. My name is Griffith Samsara. The link will be down below. I think it was in the early hours of March 2020. Something happened. If you recall, something crawled out of the woodwork. Something came out of the bushes. Invisible. Something invisible came. Something came out. And everybody, they were just, peeing their pants all of a sudden. And I do mean that. Now listen, I'm gonna admit that for a month, I actually believed that this was real because it was all over the news, because it was so widespread. Allegedly, people were dying like flies, and for about a month in early March 2020, I believe this. I thought, okay, this, because I already was, awake, etc., but I still could not believe that something like this could be orchestrated, worldwide by the news, by the politicians, governments, so the medical facilities, doctors. I couldn't believe that this could be so precisely organized, okay, which showed my naivete. But I have to say this, okay, I have to be, still to this day, I have to be very careful with the words that I use, because you know very well that the AI overlords are watching, and if I'm not careful, I will be shadow banned. Real quick, boy. Real quick. So I'm gonna use certain words in a way that might be a bit, a bit subtle, but I think you'll get the gist of it, okay? So, the reason why I'm making this video on this topic, the Rona, the biggest scam, the lamest scam ever perpetrated on humanity, is because it's been 5 years, and there's something that I have noticed which rubs me the wrong way, okay? And that is this. You see, I remember that almost everybody was just this scared, shaking coward. Everybody was threatening everybody who wasn't wearing the face diaper. Everybody was just about to beat your ass into submission so you could take the milkshake in your veins. The milkshake. People were just, that was the dawn, the dawn of the NPC. That event proved that a lot of people are NPCs, and they get a download and they just become these Manchurian candidates. So a lot of people then, they became these robots, these drones, these automatons, and they were basically becoming the Gestapo, sniffing out who didn't have the milkshake, and who didn't have the face diaper. If you recall, I remember clearly, everybody, they were shaking in their boots, little crybabies. They were so worried. They were so troubled, folks. They just thought, indeed, that they could die every second. Every second meant you could die. And these people, adults, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, on and on and on, old heads, everybody, they were just absolute cowards. Because they imagined that something fictional, something fictitious was actually real. They thought that something invisible was stalking the prairie, and you had to wear a face diaper, and you had to maintain the distance of 6 feet, and that could prevent, damnation. Okay? Most people, I remember clearly, people who I thought were intelligent, people who I thought had actual brains in their heads, people who I thought were mature, more mature than me, in those years, especially from 2020 to 2022, when this hoax was just everything, for at least 2 years, this thing, this thing that does not exist, for 2 years at least, people thought that we were done for. People thought that we were cooked. Okay. Most people, they were such spineless, chicken shit cowards, pussies. Okay. Pussies. And not only that, they were under the impression that they could bully you and me to do this, do that, wear this, get 20 injections, and if you didn't do what they wanted you to do to make them feel better, then you were an enemy of the state, public enemy number 1, you were against reason, you were against logic, you were a hater of science, you were an anti-this, an anti-that, you were a troglodyte, you were a moron, you were an imbecile, you were an idiot, you were a cretin, just because you, perhaps, nurtured a different opinion, an opinion that differed from the mainstream narrative, which, of course, I was one of those people. And the level of just malice and spiteful hatred that these NPCs were capable of. I remember, just people just looking at me like this. So, and asking me, so you're not gonna get the milkshake? You're not gonna get the milkshake? And I was just like, no. Why should I? Right? And this just rubbed people the wrong way. Something happened to people. Something unleashed in their peanut brains that it was just pure venom. It was just poison. People were like militias, like mobs, like posses. They were stalking the streets for somebody to lynch because that person did not agree with what everybody else agreed. Do you remember? I remember all of this. And remember, you had to put liquid soap on your hands every 2 minutes, and you had to do this because that was a really great idea. People thought that this prevented disaster. Apparently this was a crisis of epic proportions, worldwide, global, and I was just like, I couldn't believe, listen, those 2 to 3 years from 2020, they're just such a blur. It's like a bad hangover. It's just like, it's impossible to conceive that something like this, on this level of dumbness, was possible. To me, something like this is impossible, and yet it was. And in some cases, it's still going on, because on occasion I'm still seeing, especially these old fucks who have the face diapers still on because they think the boogeyman is gonna get them. Ooh! Okay. Um, it's 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 incredible to me. And I always say this. I don't know if I coined this phrase, if it is absolutely original, but I just love it. The only thing that I believe in, folks, is mankind's limitless potential for cruelty and dumbness. This is absolutely true. This is what we're good at as a species. We just cannot stop being cruel and dumb, and rude. Even to this day, folks, most people who have a head on their shoulder, who seem intelligent, they still believe that this was real. They believe that the invisible thing that was caused by a bat or something, they believe that the invisible nothing that wasn't real, they believe that this this fantasy was actually legit in every way. And it's been 5 years, and I was just craving to talk about this. I was just, I was so passionate about this, because through this fake event, this charade, this fraud of a crisis, it was absolutely demonstrated 100% that 99.999 of the population is so profoundly stupid and gullible and naive and credulous and so stupid that it blows my mind that they somehow can still manage to exist and function properly. Most people through this event, they demonstrated that they have no integrity, no standards, no convictions, no morality whatsoever. And they demonstrated that they are nothing but primitive animals who get frightened very easily, who drop everything at the first sign of trouble. This is what most people are, and you probably already knew this, just like I already knew this. But this event, this fake Rona nonsense, with its endless propaganda, it showed that pretty much everybody around us are just mindless fools, okay? Now you need to wrap your head around this, folks. The fake Rona nonsense proved that your family, your relatives, your lovers, your partners, your spouse, your children, your neighbors, your friends, it has been demonstrated that they are spineless cowards and robots and drones and brainless zombies who will believe anything as long as it comes from the government or some sort of official organization. It has also demonstrated that your friends, family, children, parents, etc., that they are gullible fools who just go with the flow, who embrace the herd, who just immediately bow to the hive mindset. So many people, when this happened, they just renounced their individuality, their personality, their autonomy, their sovereign right of free will, and they just went along with this charade because they didn't want to look like they were I don't know, heretics. Heretics, huh? It's, it is, it is, it's so hilarious to me. This is why I'm making this video. It's so hilarious to me because I remember people being, frightened pussycats, and they being bullies, threatening other people who didn't go along with the nonsense, your boy included. Maybe you were the same. I remember people being just clowns and buffoons and mindless fools and obedient order followers. I remember all of this. And you know what rubs me the wrong way, why I'm making this video, is that today, 5 years after this nonsense, commenced. 5 years, folks. Happy anniversary. After 5 years, most people on the street, they're just walking. They be swagging. They got that riz. They got that confidence. They got that charisma. And I'm just wondering, bro, I remember you were shaking in your boots. How do people have this audacity today? This audacity that only stupid people are capable of. And I truly am a defender of this opinion. That only an absolute stupid person, a mindless fool, can just be this confident dummy. Just, hey. Bro, I remember all these people just being these scared children. They're gonna get me. The invisible thing, the invisible bugs, they're gonna get the big V. The big V is gonna get me. I remember all these people. I remember clearly the absolute fear carved into their faces. Their expressions were like this. They were afraid they were gonna get bombed. That was akin to, the fear. They thought that the invisible critters, the invisible critters are gonna get them. I remember all of these people. They swallowed the okie doke. They believed the unbelievable. They became these obedient, mindless fools who just went along with the majority because they didn't want to stand out, because actually they don't have any balls, okay? So these people, I say it clearly, they were my family, they were my, not friends, but acquaintances, relatives, colleagues at work, people that I knew on the street, and on, people at the store, people there, people here, all of them, they were just these traumatized, these anxiety-ridden, PTSD. They were shaking in their boots. They thought that they thought that they were goners. They thought that they were gonna die any minute because the big V was coming for them. That's right. The big V was coming, folks. And all of these people, nowadays, they just stroll on the street. They just waltz on the street like they are the big dick swing. And I'm just like, bro, what happened? How do you have this audacity 5 years afterwards to just pretend like you weren't a spineless coward? How do these people have this audacity? The insolence and the impudence of these people is astronomical. Astronomical. Only stupid people are capable of such arrogance without any basis. What is the basis of this arrogance and this insolence and this audacity? It has to be dumbness, because there is nothing else that can defend. There is nothing else that can defend such arrogance and such audacity other than pure stupidity on a level that cannot be comprehended. Okay? So this is mainly why I'm making this video. It's a sort of, therapy session. I don't know what it is. I do not understand how people can just walk on the street nowadays with their heads held high, so proud of themselves, so, yeah, they're in love with themselves, when 3 or 4 years ago, they were spineless cowards with no balls, giving lecturing other people to wear their face diapers because they were not being serious. I remember this. Do you remember this? People were giving us lectures on how to wear our face diapers because you had to wear it with this side outward because it was imperative it was imperative for you to wear your face diaper in a certain way. And don't you remember 6 feet, huh, Sonny? This was serious. What are you making fun of this? These people, I just wanted to punch these people. These people, how do these people maintain a pulse? How do these people maintain a heartbeat? I don't understand how they can just walk out from their homes into the street and just talk to other people with confidence when they were just these brainwashed, mind-controlled puppets on strings who believed completely the okie doke, the fraud, the faux, the false, the phony, the fake. They swallowed it whole. And nowadays, they pretend like they didn't do anything wrong. You know why? Why most people pretend today like they weren't scaredy cats, like they were lame-ass lamos, is because they have absolutely no conscience. They have absolutely no conscience. They have absolutely no standards and no convictions whatsoever. These are the type of people that will sell their children down the river to save themselves. Most people are like this. Do not for 1 second believe otherwise. Most people have proven through this event, that they were nothing more than just gullible, naive, credulous, mindless cowards. Cowards. Your father is a coward. Your mother is a coward. Your children are cowards. Your relatives are cowards. Your friends, your colleagues, your grandparents, your parents, they were all a bunch of spineless cowards and fools who believed this trash, this garbage. And they haven't yet apologized. They did not even have the integrity to apologize afterwards for their horrendous behavior. This proves that they do not have a conscience, that they are truly NPCs. It's a hard pill to swallow, folks, to understand that the people that you cherish the most are absolute morons. This is it. This is what you have to do to become a true person, to understand and accept the absolute certainty, the fact that all these people that you cherish and love, you have to swallow the fact and accept it that these people that you love the most are morons of such profound and epic proportions that it just shatters the mind that something like this can be possible. Because the proof is in the pudding, folks. Okay, I don't want any contradictory comments, because I've written a book about all of this and I have debunked all of this, and others have debunked this, scientists, whatever, doctors in the field who lost their licenses. This thing is cooked, has been cooked for a long time. I don't want any comments saying that I'm anti-science, okay? And for you to understand, I am not an anti-vaxxer, folks. I am pro-vaccines. Hopefully this word will not get me banned, but I am not anti-milkshake. I think people should take as many milkshakes as they please in their veins. Listen, for one reason, because there's too much traffic, folks. There's too much traffic. I don't like it. And the milkshakes, in time, they will thin out the herd. Okay, so if you are under the impression that you need to take 5 milkshakes Actually, you need to take 10 milkshakes, Sonny. If you think you need to take 10, you need to take 20 milkshakes, okay? You need to take as many milkshakes as possible because you'll go away. A lot of people will go away in the long run. In the grand scheme of things, I think we're gonna see a great, a great downward spiral when it comes to, births, and there will be a decline of great proportions, and I'm all for it. Okay, so I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am not against any of this. I think most people should exactly do what their hearts tell them to do. And if you think that you have had enough milkshakes, no, you need to have another 20. Sonny, okay, you need to take all the, you can have mine. You can take my milkshakes and you can have them. You can have all of them. What else can be said that hasn't been said? I've done so much research on this subject. Written a book about it, I published a book about it. It's mostly funny. All of this started in some place in Wuhan, China, at a wet market because somebody played played dominoes with a bat or a pangolin, depending on the story. And I just think it's so hilarious. Okay, it's so hilarious that people still believe this. Everything about this story is absolute hogwash, claptrap, hooey. It baffles the mind. It baffles the intellect. Okay, the fact that so many people just swallow this whole, this pill, this thing that isn't real, that crippled the intellect and the consciousness and the awareness of so many hundreds of millions and even billions of people worldwide. How could they believe this? It's like, you know what my argument is? If you still believe that this thing, the big V, the Rona, if you believe that this is still real, then why not believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny? Because actually, there's even more proof that Santa Claus is more real than the Rona, okay? And the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. They're more real than the Rona, and I have the evidence to back their statement, okay? Whereas when it comes to the Rona, it is absolutely from A to Z, from beginning to end, nothing but a bad joke, And I remember, just like you remember probably, that so many people, they were just so snobbish. They were so proud of themselves that they were correct and they were taking this seriously and they were being mature adults and they were lecturing you and I on how to proceed because we were just stupid children who didn't know what to do, and they had to tell us, like school teachers, you gotta do this and 6 feet and don't forget to wash your hands, stay safe. And I was just, man, I just felt nauseated that these clowns had the audacity to lecture other people on a hoax, a scam. They still believe that this was real. It was a moment in history, huh? It was a great moment in history that threatened all of us, didn't it, huh? You think so, don't you? Huh? You probably still think that this was some serious stuff and not just a bad joke that tricked a bunch of fools into believing nonsense. I just remember how proud people were that they were the first in line to get the milkshake in their veins, needle after needle, injection after injection, and they had to showboat. They had to display themselves and exhibit how correct they were and how self-righteous they were because they were doing the right thing, okay? They were being mindful of other people and safety. And let's all be safe. Let's all be safe, right? I remember how disgusting they were, how repulsive and repugnant. It made me want to puke. They just regurgitated everything they heard on the television, on the news, on the internet without a thought, never questioning anything. They just went around. They just went for it like rubes. Like the rubes and the peasants that they are. They just believed anything. Okay? And nowadays, the same people who were just so proud, so self-righteous, they still walk among us, and they still pretend, and they still act like everything is in the past, like nothing happened, that they are nothing to be guilty for, like they should not be held accountable, that they are not, in part, responsible for all of these breach of laws and freedoms and liberties. They walk around to this day with a clean conscience. They think they were absolutely correct in every way, and it just baffles the mind. See, these are the people that are the most dangerous, okay? And that is why I stay away from people in general, because the multitudes, folks, the masses, the riffraff, the hoi polloi, whatever you want to call them, all of the people, the majority of people, there's no hope for them. Never has been, never will be. Okay, they're cooked. They have always been cooked. They are just people who just go along to get along, to just have some fun and get some laughs. They don't care about higher ideas. They just want to enjoy themselves. They don't care what happens in the process, what irreversible, atrocities happen. They don't care. They never cared, and they never will care. These people today, like a couple of days ago, unfortunately, I had the displeasure of having a sort of a conversation with older people who still talked about those times like, oh yeah. And they were talking like they were so proud of themselves because they took they took the milkshake in their veins, and oh boy, they were so correct, and they followed the rules. They were proud of the fact that they were just obedient, mindless serfs and servants and slaves. They are proud of this stuff. Older people. It is unthinkable. See, this is the reality that we all have to wake up to. This is the nightmare, folks. This is the nightmare that we have to wake up to every day of our lives. And we have to brace ourselves because we have to face the multitudes of dummies and dunderheads every single day. Okay? Knowing that there is no hope for them. Knowing that they're doomed from the beginning. And they have absolutely no clue whatsoever that they are the pinnacle, the apogee of the textbook definition of being a moron. They have absolutely no clue. They think they're amazing people. And I have to ask, how so? Prove it to me that you're an amazing person. And they have nothing to show for it. Okay? These are the same people who are going around kind of threatening others, you need to wear a face diaper and stuff. Remember those people. Remember those people. Those people, if the conditions are right, those same people one day will come for your throat with holding a knife. Let me tell you. I'm telling you, folks. The multitudes, the masses, they are the biggest danger to us all. Because they have absolutely no limit. They are relentless in their dumbness. And they will do anything to anyone so that they feel empowered, so that they feel that they are in the right when they are not. Okay, these are the people that will destroy everything in due time. In due time, folks. The reason why things are so bad today is because most people, they just go along with things. They don't have any problem that prices are quadrupling. They don't have no problem whatsoever to the fact that hyperinflation is hanging over our heads like a guillotine, and they don't have any clue of any of this, that in a couple of years the great destruction will come crashing down over all of us, and society, civilization will be through in due time. Just you wait. It will happen in our lifetime, because most people are a bunch of fools, okay? Because they believe, obviously, impossible things, implausible, scientifically inaccurate things, okay? And you know what the worst thing is that if you do just not even 5 minutes of research, okay? Not even 5 minutes of research into this topic. The big V, the Rona, if you do 5 minutes, you don't have to read my book. You just have to do 5 minutes of research. You will, if you have half a brain cell, you will understand that all of this is just a hoax, a scam, a fraud, fakery. But most people, they aren't even capable of this. Most people, they just trust. They just trust that the authorities are in the right. They cannot conceive of the fact that, one, the authorities are mistaken, and number two, most people cannot even comprehend the fact that perhaps most authorities and organizations are here to deceive people. They can't even fathom something like this. This is the hallmark of a normie. Why would politicians and why would all of these institutions trick humanity? What? People actually ask this question. What are you a conspiracy theorist? What are you saying, huh? The hallmark of a mindless fool is that they cannot even fathom the concept that perhaps all of these authorities and institutions are intentionally, deliberately here to deceive and trick all of us. Let me tell you, if you are a normie, all of these things that you love so much, government and politicians and the World Health Organization and Big Pharma and all of this, if you ask the question, why would they conspire to do all of this? The answer is because they can, because they're people like you and I. But the difference is that those people actually have a brain inside their heads, and they understand that you're a fool, so why wouldn't they? Shit, I would do it if I was part of the Illuminati. They can't understand that, all of these doctors and a lot of these nurses and a lot of these hospitals and a lot of these pharmacies, they were all in on it in various degrees. It's a hierarchy. And everybody knows exactly what they need to know. But what is more important is that they got their cash. They were paid off. They were on the payroll. And of course they were gonna trick you. If you didn't know, all of these institutions that make up society, they are here for one purpose and one purpose only. And that is to, one, trick the population, and two, is to milk the population of all of its money. Okay? Even before this Rona scam was ensued, if you had anything to do with hospitals, the medical field, whatever, you know that it was all corrupt from top to bottom. See, this is basic experience, life experience. In any institution you go, you understand that you're being tricked. Of course, it's all a sham. What are you talking about? Right? City Hall, the IRS, the Chamber of Commerce, the military, like they're all in on it for that cash. And most of all, to control people. And people were controlled in this event like you can't even imagine. Billions of brainless fools. brainless fools just going along with the flow because they were afraid. It has been 5 years, folks, and nothing is changing for the better. Nobody has the balls to just come out and say, yeah, I got tricked. I believed in a lie. They're never gonna say this because they're just living their little lives, their worthless little lives, and they think it's all over. They think it is all over. But let me tell you, I've been paying attention, and for the last 2-3 years, there have been these whispers and these hints about something called Mysterious Illness X. So something else is brewing on the horizon, folks. Don't you even begin to imagine that this is over. This is going to be a long stage in our lives, okay? The Rona, folks. The Rona was just a prologue. It was the aperitif. Okay, the real stuff is gonna come down the line in the next 5 or 10 years, and people will swallow that okie doke too, because of course they will. Of course they will. The simple-minded fools. I mean, folks, listen, we are surrounded by simpletons. By simpletons. Everywhere. They are everywhere. These rubes, we are surrounded by them. Okay, and there is absolutely no hope whatsoever. There's nothing to be done. You can't save people. You cannot correct their mindset. You cannot, assist, in correcting, in minimalizing the stupidity of another person. It is impossible. You will never ever be able to do any of that. Most people are just they're done for. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Maybe I'll do another video when the 10th anniversary rears its ugly head. Maybe it will be fun. But for now, happy anniversary, folks. It's been 5 years. What a ride. What a ride. It is something to be in awe of. You know what this Rona event has showed is that reality cannot be real. Whatever this reality is, I don't know if it's a simulation. I don't know if it is a dream within a dream. I don't know what it is. But what it has showed is that it is not solid. It is not something that can be trusted. It does not follow rules. It will go to lengths that will seem ludicrous and preposterous to prove a point. And the point is that no matter how silly it gets, most people will not notice. And that is so depressing, that is so disappointing. No matter how silly things get, no matter how right in your face it gets, most people still will not have the brain capacity to notice that they're being bamboozled, straight up, flim-flammed. They can't even imagine that. Okay, and most people will go to their graves thinking that this was real, that they lived through history, that they did something, that they were correct, that they proved to themselves and to others that they were absolutely following the law and they were a true citizen, not like all of us who disagreed from the start. Okay, this is it. Okay, it is man. It is. People live people live their lives, their worthless little lives, with the notion that they know stuff, that they are aware, that they are conscious, that they are in the right, that they are informed. This is so disconcerting that people have deluded themselves to such a degree that they believe all of these illusions. And listen, even after I published my book, I was still paying attention. And I've been following certain people who I think are intelligent people, and I think they're funny. But they're smart. These people that I follow online, they're smart. But even these people were just staunch believers in this. Intelligent people who I consider intelligent. And they have proven to me that they're intelligent. They believe this, and they were all, stay safe, 6 feet, maintain the distance, face diaper, get your milkshakes, get your needles. And I'm just like, how is this possible? How is it possible that even intelligent, kind-hearted people who have a good head on their shoulders, how is it that even smart people can believe this? It has to be some sort of programming. People were conditioned and inculcated and indoctrinated to believe a hoax, a scam, because most people spend their time in front of a screen, and no matter what they tell you, I am convinced that most people believe what they see on the screen. Because, of course, if the majority of people believe something, that it has to be true. And this is the greatest fallacy of them all. Folks, it is actually the opposite. Anything, whatever it is, if the majority of people believe in something, then I guarantee you that thing is an absolute fake, a falsehood. The majority of people are always wrong. Always wrong, because the majority of people will always be tricked extremely easily. They are like puppets on strings, mannequins. Okay, mannequins orchestrated by a higher hand, and they don't even notice it. They are incapable of noticing that reality itself is one big trick. It blows my mind, folks. It blows my mind. I have a quote in here that I want to tell you. It is by H.G. Wells, and this really rings true. Okay. It sounds like this. This is what H.G. Wells said. The crisis of today is the joke of tomorrow. Let me repeat that. The crisis of today is the joke of tomorrow. This Rona thing, this Rona event, that people believed was just this major thing, this extinction level threat to society, to humanity. In time, folks, maybe in our lifetime, but the generations that will come, and probably the historians of the future, the people of the future, will look back on us. We people of the early 21st century, they will look back at this so-called crisis and how people conducted themselves, and they will shake their heads in embarrassment. So disgraceful. They will laugh, but they will also cry that most people in this time could be so gullible. So gullible, right? The people of the future will laugh at us. Okay, in due time, in due time. This is what happens. This is the fate of history, folks. Every event that happens 100 years in the future, people will just look back on it and say, oh boy, these people, man, they were not prepared. They were not equipped to think rationally, to endorse common sense thinking. Oh boy. Oh man, what a joke. And I guess this is, like the statement of this video is that people nowadays, today, they have no idea how shameful they are, how disgraceful they are. Their behavior, their mindset, they just live without a shred of regret, without a shred of self-accusation. They do not have the ability for introspection to just analyze and criticize themselves. They think that they were just perfect little citizens. This is the problem. This is the problem. People do not have the ability to criticize themselves. They do not have the ability to analyze their behavior and their thought process because it has not been taught to them by their elders. They have not learned to distinguish, right from wrong. They do not have the capacity for critical thinking in its simplest form. And another thing, okay, this is another thing that I want to just get off my chest is where were our elders? Our elders, the elders should have been the ones to pinpoint that all of this was a sham. Okay, because apparently the cliche is, the stereotype is that our elders have the life experience, they have the maturity, they have the knowledge and the wisdom to distinguish and discern, something real from something false. Okay, and of course, our elders have failed us, and more importantly, they have failed the younger generations. The younger generations, they were left to the wolves, and now the younger generations are just, they're just lost. They're just astray because our elders, our seniors, our old people who allegedly have gone through life and have attained some sort of wisdom from experience, they were the first ones who shook in their boots. They were the first ones who pissed their pants. They were the first who bent the knee. They were the first ones who put on the face diaper. They were the first ones who lined up, at the centers to get their injections. The first ones. Okay, so they are the traitors. They are the ones who have betrayed humanity. Because they were afraid of death, because they were afraid of dying to something that does not exist, did not exist, and will never, ever, ever exist. Because they believe that somewhere in China, in a market, a pangolin and a bat, they were fornicating, and from their copulation emerged a mutated epidemic. Can I say that word? Huh? It's just my God. This and this is the conclusion. Most people they just do not deserve respect. They do not deserve respect because they just surrendered and capitulated a second into this event. A second. After a second, they just capitulated, surrendered, conceded. So there's nobody you can trust, be it an individual or a group of people, you certainly cannot trust any institutions or organizations. You cannot trust politicians. You cannot trust the government. You cannot trust City Hall. You cannot trust anybody because they were all in on it. In various degrees, folks. And the little people who were in on this, they were all in on it for the cash. And let me tell you, they all got paid off. Don't you dismiss this even for a second. Everybody got paid off because everybody knew what was going on. Everybody in the medical field exactly knew what was going on. And what was going on, folks, was nothing in particular. Nothing in particular was going on. Hospitals weren't, chock full with the dead and the dying. Nobody was having seizures. Calm down, etc., etc. Okay? You can't trust anybody or anything. You can only trust you in yourself and in your own capacity to endorse critical thinking. Without critical thinking and common sense, which is almost extinct today, without any of this, we are all nothing but we are so vulnerable to being manipulated if we do not operate under common sense. And everybody, they were so manipulated so easily that I'm just... Children. People were children. Toddlers. Because they believed in fairy tales, huh? That was what happened. And, for young people, my only advice is you have to have the strength. You have to have the strength to go against the grain. You have to go in the opposite direction every time. Never go with the herd. Never go with the mob. Never go with the group, because they will lead you off a cliff every time. They will lead you to the slaughterhouse, folks. All you young people, you're on your own. That's a given. That's a fact. Okay. And I could spend another 5 hours in this video just listing off all of the contradictions, right? All of the dichotomies, all of the contrasts, and all of the lies surrounding this event. But, after writing this book and revising it for 2-3 times, I don't want to hear anything about this anymore. I don't want to hear anything about the Rona. I don't care about any of this. I've written my piece. It's you don't. I mean, it's common sense. You don't even have to do research to to understand that it was all just a big fat lie. All a big fat lie, folks. It's just, and this is it. The thing that is so disgusting, so sickening is that people just pretend like they weren't just these drones, these Gestapo agents. Because that's what they were. They were bullying people and threatening people and oppressing people and persecuting people to fall in line. They walk around like they weren't, the enemy of humanity. They were the enemy. The population was the enemy of humanity. Humanity is its worst enemy because dumbness is rife. The real dumbness, the real epidemic, the real pandemic is sheer dumbness on a scale that you cannot even comprehend. It is cosmic. It is astronomical. It is universal, this dumbness, this stupidity. Nowadays, questioning the mainstream narrative is akin to is akin to anti-intellectualism. It is being anti-science. It is questioning things. It is anti-logical. Refusing and rejecting, the mainstream narrative is akin to being a terrorist. Not being just a mindless believer is akin to being like, a criminal. Thinking for yourself is heresy, blasphemy, sacrilege. Doing your own research is likened to disinformation. So if you have the audacity to actually read things on your own that disagree with the mainstream narrative, that is this disinformation. You're a disinformation agent. Critical thinking is heresy. Common sense is the epitome of stupidity nowadays, huh? Being intelligent is not a good thing. The only virus, the only actual V today, folks, that is spreading, that is multiplying, is dumbness and naivete and credulity and being gullible. That is the real virus. Okay? Seeking the truth and cherishing the truth and protecting the truth and defending the truth and trusting the truth is akin to disinformation. It is an illegal act, illegitimate nowadays. Everything is upside down. You have to wake up. If you haven't woken up, you need to wake up, Sonny. The world is not what you think it is. Most people have no idea what this world really is. They have absolutely no idea how this world works. They have no idea how this world really operates. They have absolutely no idea of the evil that is going on behind closed doors in the Senate, in the Congress, etc., etc. They have no idea. They do not suspect anything. It is something to behold, It is. But let me tell you this. One of these days, of course, there will be a rude awakening. There will be a reckoning for everybody, because this is how it is. This is how nature or karma or God, whatever, the universe, this is how it works. This is how it operates. Okay, whatever you want to call it, everything will be set right eventually. And unfortunately, it won't be nice. It won't be pretty. Everything will fall apart eventually because of people, because of their sheer dumbness. Sheer dumbness. If you are an individual today, if you have actual personality, if you think for yourself and do not just agree with others and fall in line, if you do all of this, you are pretty much a heretic, a heathen, a pagan, an infidel. Okay, because what the world wants is a bunch of obedient workers who are mindless slaves. That's it. And this is what people are in general. Most people. Okay? Most people, this is what they are. Unfortunately. I used to be one of them a long time ago until I woke up. Right? It is just people just walk around so cocky. So cocky. They are on that Sigma grind set. they have that riz, they have that charisma, they have that charm, big dick energy all around. Everybody's so confident, so assertive, as if just a couple of years ago they weren't shaking in their boots like the cowards they really are. It's so fascinating to me. Observing this develop for these years, it has been so... It has been like a lobotomy. I'm just stunted. I can't believe it. People are actually NPCs, folks. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And let me tell you one thing: don't even try to wake somebody up. They will reject everything you say. You need to move on, Sonny. This video is not meant to wake anybody up. It is impossible. Those people who are meant to wake up have already waken up. Okay, so all of you who are truthers or whatever you want to call yourselves, you need to stop trying. Everybody who has woken up has already woken up. There's nobody else left. Okay, the sleepers are asleep. They are on autopilot. They are daydreaming. Okay, everybody that was meant to wake up as an actual conscious being, they had it in them all along. They were born with it. Okay, this is not something that you can bestow. This was given to us by nature. Okay, and it was triggered by something extremely traumatic. In my case, it was 9/11. In the mid 2000s, 2003, 4, 5, I was already doing some research. I was already like in shock, shell shocked, trying to figure out what was going on. And since then, 20 plus years later, there's no going back. You cannot go back to sleep, okay? So stop trying to wake people up. This video and this book that I published, it's all for a laugh, because this is what we can do. We can laugh at the world, okay? This is the only thing that we can do. Stop trying to wake dum-dums up. The dummies of the world will never wake up. Because waking up means that you have to confess and accept and admit the fact that you have been tricked. And most people, they are incapable of admitting that they were tricked. Okay? They can't. It is not in their system to do so. Okay? So yeah. That's pretty much it, folks. Happy anniversary. It's been 5 years. Maybe I'll do another, in another 5 years. We'll see. It's just, it's so laughable. It's hilarious that such a thing happened. The fact that something like this happened, the fact that the big Rona happened, it just proves to me, without a shadow of a doubt, that this reality, whatever it is here to pull pranks. It is here to trick people. This world we live in, whatever it is, its sole function is to fill people with anxiety. It is to torture people. It is to manipulate people. It is to control people. It is to inject them with a dose of fear. This is what life is. This is what life is. Okay, and the only antidote, see, I'm using terms now, terminology. The only antidote to all of this nonsense that is happening here is to laugh about it. Because I think that fear is that one ingredient which turns good people into monsters. That is it. Fear turns people into monsters, and when people become monsters, they are capable of anything. And these And during this fake event, people showed their true colors. People showed who they really were. You know, they revealed who they really were. And what they are is a bunch of hapless, mindless, spineless cowards who will obey anything, no matter how preposterous, as long as it comes from, the voice of authority. Because, people have been programmed this way, so there's nothing that can be done. No matter how preposterous something is, people will believe it, and they will do it, and they will fall in line as long as it comes from authority. Okay? So, that's pretty much it. We can only laugh about it. Happy anniversary, folks. This thing, let me tell you, this big Rona will repeat itself, just like the Spanish flu, deja vu. It will happen again, and people will just do the same thing over again. Things repeat themselves. Things are in a loop, in a cycle. Don't you doubt it for a second. This thing was only the appetizer. It will come again, stronger and better than ever. Just you wait. I'll make a video about it when Mysterious Illness X will come to the forefront. Don't you worry. Okay? Don't you worry. I'll be there, and I'll make that video laughing about it. Okay? It's just, but of course, I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to make exceptions, but, there were people, even at the beginning, who were just looking at this, and they were shaking their heads. They knew what was going on, and God bless them. God bless them. They were truly intelligent and brave people. Of course, not everybody was a mindless fool. There were some of us, okay? And, it's just, I'm not a fan of memes in general, but the memes that were coming out during the acme of this so-called pandemic, the memes were to my taste. Okay, the memes were good. Hazmat suits and just wrapping yourself in plastic and putting on 10 masks and, putting on a condom on your face, respirators, cyberpunk get-ups. It's just, my God, the people were just, they were hysterical, deranged. I remember going in taxis, and they had that plastic shield, but there was an opening so you could put the money in, and I was just like, but if I sneeze, the invisible critters will go through that, and you're cooked. But nobody thought logically. They just went along. And they thought 6 feet was enough because the big V could distinguish distance, but if it was 5 feet, you were cooked. But if it was 6 feet, the big V was like, okay, that's I can't reach. It's too far. Like, right? Let me end it with this. Pure logic, pure common sense. If this invisible thing, these critters, microscopical critters, were real, right? No matter what you did, if you had to breathe oxygen, you were cooked. It was already in your system, right? Because if you went outside, you had to put your diaper on, right? But if you were inside your home, you didn't have to wear your diaper. But the big invisible V was in the air, and you were breathing it in your home. So you were already infected, contaminated. So, like a clown show. Wake up. But you can't wake up because you're asleep on autopilot. People are sleepwalkers. They cannot handle the simplest logical argument. They can't. Because it was not taught to them to think critically. Okay? It was not taught. man, it's just, so yeah. Basically, this whole video was just a shameless plug. I wrote a book about the Big V. You can find it on Amazon again. It's called Year of the Mask. Mask wrote with a Q because a mask is a masquerade ball. And in a masquerade ball, guess what? People wear masks and costumes and they pretend to be something else. So you see, that's a play on words, okay? It's called Year of the Mask. My name is Griffith Samsara. The link will be down below. You know, if you want to laugh, this book is for you. You know, and what else can one say? It's just like, it's just like waking up from not from a nightmare, because it wasn't a nightmare. It's like waking up from a bad hangover, and I'm just like dazed and confused and disorientated. I'm just like, what happened? What happened? People were just locking themselves up in their homes, and they right? And they were doing what? Huh? Right? It's just, wow. Wow. Listen. I'll end it with this. If there is a God, okay, if there is a God, whatever that God must be laughing at us constantly. The type of stuff we do down here must be funny as hell to God. If there is a God, God is laughing at us, and God has been laughing at us since the dawn of time. Because, hey, see what we're doing out here? See what we're doing out here? Put on your face diaper. Put on your face condom. Hey, get a milkshake. Hey. Right? And all the while, all the people in the vaccination centers were like, got him. Hey. See, the people in power, while all of this was going on, they were doing this. They were basically fuckboys, and they were doing this. Hey, look at all these dummies. Right? This is what the people in power were doing while all of this was going on. Well, billions of people, billions of dummies were just lining up to what? To what? To get a milkshake. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? This was a deception so flimsy, so vanilla that I am not impressed. To all of the shape-shifting reptilians out there, I am not impressed. All you Freemasons, I am not impressed. Do better, Illuminati. Do better, please. Please do better, okay? This was not it. I wasn't impressed. It was lame as hell. Milk toast, subpar, below average at best. Do better, you know? All the hidden hand of the world. All of these CFRs and trilateral commissions and the Jesuits and all you people out there who control things. You need to do better. You need to do better. This was not it, okay? If you need ideas, if you need a consultant, you need to reach a boy, because I got big ideas. I got big ideas, huh? But, yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. Hopefully this video made you laugh, because that's the only thing that we can do around here. Okay? You know, a lot of people made a lot of money on selling these medical supplies that didn't help in the least. A lot of people made a lot of money selling those hand sanitizers that didn't do jack nothing. All right, a lot of people made a lot of money selling gloves and those plastic bags for your feet. Mountains of money, oceans of money. and people just walk around like nothing happened. Nothing. And of course, I'm not, a simpleton. I understand that people actually died. Of course I do. But in my view, and based on the evidence, because of the research that I have done, and others have concluded this, most of the people that unfortunately died, let's just say that they were intentionally taken out in these facilities that allegedly are meant to help people. And I'll leave it at that, because saying more will get me banned immediately to a gulag near you. Okay. Yeah. So, that's about it, folks. A long-ass video. Thanks for watching. Happy anniversary. It's been 5 years of sheer just nothing. Of sheer nothing. Okay? 5 years of nothing in particular. Okay? And I cannot wait for the next big thing to come around, for the next big hoax, the next big scam, because people have been so programmed, so indoctrinated, so conditioned that they will just bend over immediately when the next thing happens. And who knows what the next big thing will be, but I guarantee you this. Mark my words, the next big Rona thing, the next big psyop will be even more preposterous, even more ludicrous, even more hilarious, and even more scientifically implausible than the Rona itself. Mark my words. That's about it. See ya!